did I hear, just in closing here, did I hear correctly? I think I read one interview with you this morning in print somewhere where it said you were already working on a follow-up record. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I am. I'm in my studio right now.
How far along are you on that?
I've got about maybe a handful of really killer ideas. I have 2 songs. One is almost finished, and the other one, need to write some lyrics to it and stuff, and make sure that the song flows right and stuff. And it's like, but I got quite a few ideas, and because I really have nothing but time now, so it's like, it's pretty easy for me to go like, okay, I'll go down and play around and see what I can come up with, So, yeah, I'm working on this. You know what? Luckily for me, I don't have straight up. I'm going to say it this way: when you're in a band and you're a touring band and you put out records, and I think you pretty much know this as well, that you can go out 9 or 10 months, and come back and you got the record company and your manager and stuff. Oh, we need a new album in 6 weeks. And it's never as good as the first one. And then you're back out on tour again, And
yeah.
so it's, I don't know. I don't have to have that.
Right.
Luckily.
Well, with that being said, Mick, this is a great question I always wanted to ask you, and that maybe ties in here. What is your favorite, personally, what is your favorite Motley Crue record?
All of them. Except for Generation Swine. That one was too rough. That was a bit rough.
You really think they're all equally great? You like them all equally?
Well, there's certain songs on each one of them that I really like, yeah.
Right.
On each individual ones, it's like there's songs on there that I really like, and some songs are, I call them filler songs, and I know that you know what that is too. I can, yeah, I like pretty much quite a few of the songs on, all.
I agree with you that there's stuff on all the records that I like. Even, believe it or not, Generation Swine, there's a couple things on there I like. But to me, I always go to the first record. Because you made that mention about you have your whole life to do that first record, and I just love Too Fast for Love. To this day, it's my top to bottom. I love that record. And then, of course, I'm sure you're aware, but this mega deluxe box set of Shout at the Devil just came out for its anniversary. With some extra stuff on there. But yeah, I mean, just maybe because of my age, I always default to those early records. But that first album is just that perfect mix of metal, glam, pop, a little of everything going on. I just love the sound of it. I love everything about it.
Yeah, that's the hungry years, and you're hungry for that. And then after you get it, it's like you're full. So you put out, a lot of bands aren't reminded of being hungry. They go like, they put out, a poopy album. You know what I mean? And it's like, to all the musicians out there, never not get full. Be hungry all the time. Reinvent yourself. Redo this. Don't repeat. God, Yeah. That's why I'm so old.
Wait, one more thing on the Motley catalog. Over the years, what's crazy is the one record with Karabi has become this thing where people absolutely love that self-titled record now. I talk to John about it all the time. It comes up constantly with fans to me. That record, even at the time being a tough sell, has aged remarkably well.
Yeah, Well, you know, at the time, you know, people actually weren't ready to accept it. But, you know, things, you know, after time and stuff, and then all this, you know, it's like, oh, okay, how come this didn't, you know? So it's all good, you know. With, you know, people rediscovering stuff like that is cool, you know.
Yeah.
It's like if you know, you rediscover you know, an old Beatles song, or an old Stone song, like, you know, I don't know, you rediscover and you go, oh, whoa, that's better than I remember it, you know. So it's like that kind of a deal for me. And I thought it was a great album when it came out, and I still do. And you know, I'm really happy that a lot of people are rediscovering that album. Actually,
Totally.
You know,
yeah,
and,
totally.
Yeah, because that one has a lot of really good songs on it.
Yeah,
as well, very meaningful things too. You know, so it's, yeah. It was,
and Mick, last thing, and I'll let you go and get back to your studio. I never asked you this because when The Dirt came out, Nikki and Tommy did this show to promote it. We did it from LA when the premiere happened. But I never had a chance to hear from you and ask you what you thought of The Dirt and how you were portrayed and what you thought of that movie.
The movie?
Yeah.
I thought that it won. You know, the guy that played Game of Thrones and was the bastard. He did an amazing job. He portrayed me pretty much how I am. And which is like kind of kick back and mellow and, you know, effing teenagers and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. So I thought he did a great job, and I thought the movie was pretty close, but you know, you can't really fill a 90-minute movie, and you know, that's been 40 years, you know, or 30 years or whatever it was, you know. You just can't.
And whenever you do a movie like that, there's always going to be some liberties taken by the writer or the director to make it a more compelling story or what have you. Even in the Queen biopic, there's some of that. And I remember I walked out of the premiere the night it premiered in LA, and I ran into Doc McGee, and I'm talking to him out on the sidewalk, and there's that scene in there where you know, Doc brings his mother or something to meet Nikki, and that's when he gets fired. And I talked to, I'll never forget, I saw Doc out on Sunset Boulevard. I go, what'd you think of the movie? He goes, I liked it. He goes, but I never even met Nikki's mother. So I was like, well, there's that.
Yeah. That got changed up a little bit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But yeah.
There's always going to be the Hollywood stuff in a biopic like that has to be in there for the timeline or the story or whatever.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's like, you know, you're absolutely right on that. Sometimes writers take liberties and change things up, you know, for whatever reason, you know, I don't know. Maybe they thought it was too violent or something. I don't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Well, listen, man, I can't thank you enough for letting me premiere the song yesterday, and we just did an hour straight, and I can't thank you enough for the time. And I'm honestly, Mick, you and I have gone back on this for a long time, and I can say truly, I am so happy for you that this thing is finally out. The song, the record coming on February 27th. I know the fans are, myself included, happy for you that it's coming, and to hear you active and making music like this is great. And I can't wait for everybody to hear the full record, and we'll definitely do more when the full record comes. And I'm going to tell you, man, I got my fingers crossed that even if it's a residency, I think your fans will come to you. But it'd be wonderful to see you up there playing guitar again and playing some of these songs on stage.
I might be sitting.
That's all right.
Thank you, Eddie. And you know what? Thank you too so much. For all these years, you know, seeing Motley and seeing this and doing it and debuting my record, that means a tremendous lot to me. You know,
I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me do it.
It's all good, man.
Mick, all the best to you, and we'll continue. I'm sure you'll be. I'm assuming with the album coming February 27th, you'll release another song or two prior to the album actually coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think.
You know what the next one's going to be?
I think it's Right Side of Wrong. I believe it's going to be the next, and then I'm going to kind of like venture into Undone.
Okay.
Right around the album release, and so it's like there's three different types of songs, you know. So this is, I don't know, just see what happens.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, man, congratulations to you, and again, I'm happy for you, and thank you again for the time. And you know where to get me. We'll be talking soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, Mick. Take care.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Bye.
You got it. See ya. There he is, Mick Mars, an hour straight with the man himself here on Trunk Nation Live. Absolutely awesome. And again, I mean, I am super happy for that guy because this was a long process for him to get this thing out. And it went through, we could have, if we really dug in, we could have spent another hour easily going through all the different iterations and people involved and in and out and singers and this and that. But from what I've heard, and I've heard I think I've got 4 tracks, 4 or 5. So I've roughly heard about half the record, maybe a little less, but it's killer. I mean, it really is. It's just, you got to get past the expectation of what it was going to be, because that's the thing. I mean, me and everybody else, we all thought it was going to be like a more bluesy, you know what? When I thought of a Mick Mars solo record, you know, in my mind, what came to mind, everybody knows the Motley Crue song Without You, which is on Dr. Feelgood, is a beautiful slide guitar solo throughout it. And just that sort of bluesy vibe to that. I expected a record in that sort of vein, not a very modern sounding heavy rock record like this. But so once you disconnect from what you would expect, you're like, wow, this is killer. Not what you'd expect a 72-year-old guy to be able to put out at this point in his life, but I'm amazed at how he's delivered. And it's and he surrounded himself with good people. I know all these people involved in this. Paul Taylor and Ray Luzier and Jacob Bunton. I mean, all great guys and very talented people. Chris Collier, I do not know personally. Mick said he lived in Vegas. Maybe I'll run into him one of these days soon. But I had first heard Chris's name. He had mentioned he was working with Korn, but I know of Chris because David Coverdale was the first person to tell me about Chris, because he was the guy that Coverdale was using to remix all this Whitesnake stuff that's come out recently. So that's where that name first landed on my radar, at least. But as you could hear, more songs coming soon. Full album February 27th. Didn't sound committal on live shows, which is more than understandable given his health concerns. But it would be awesome if he's able to get up and play some of this stuff live. And obviously, where the Motley lawsuit and grievances were very public there for a while, including stuff online, the interview in Rolling Stone where they went back and forth, all of that. Now, not surprisingly, when it goes through the legal channels, the lawyers tell everybody to shut up and they duke it out behind the scenes. So I'm sure that's what's happening now, and understandably. And I never push when it's legal stuff, because obviously I understand that's a whole different world. So hopefully that gets resolved to everybody's liking, and they can deal with all of that internally, and they can all come out of it feeling okay about stuff. And the lawyers will come out of it all with a lot more money in their pocket, is usually how that works. But hopefully it's resolved to the best for all involved. All right. Huge thanks to Mick Mars. That was awesome. And appreciate the time with him.